Well, welcome along to Silverstone, everybody, for what will be the 13th round of the 2025 Finecut Radical Cup UK Championship. The cars just making their way out onto circuit for the first of 3 races they'll have this weekend. This is the first of 2 sprint races. This one today, then I'll have a further sprint race tomorrow, plus the slightly longer pit stop race. Looks as though the cars, as they've come out of the assembly area, are already on their formation lap. So we probably ought to rattle through the grid then and the way that they'll line up for this 13th round of the championship, which caters for the last 3 generations of Radical SR3. So the Gen 3 cars, the SR3 RSX, the Gen 4 cars, the SR3 XX, and the Gen 5 cars, the latest ones, which are most that we have out there, which is the SR3 XXR. So let me guide you through the grid then. This is based on the times that were set in the qualifying session earlier on today under what were, as they were now, still fairly cloudy skies with the odd little bit of blue sky poking through. But it's been a nice and a warm day, so it's really ideal conditions to go racing as they'll weave around on this formation lap to try and gain as much temperature as they can in the control Hankook tyres that all of these cars run. Hankook are the global tyre partner for Radical Championship, so it doesn't matter whether it's here in the UK or the many other championships for Radical that exist throughout the world, you'll be running on the same tyre. Let me guide you through the grid then, the way that they line up. It's number 3, Marcus Littlewood, that starts on pole position. He's the championship leader. He's the reigning SR4 champion, reigning SR1 champion from last year. He lines up on pole position, and alongside him is number 98, which is Max van der Snel, who we saw out at Zandvoort doing really good things last time out, where he claimed a win in the final race there. Row 2 of the grid is 95, Hamish Forrest, alongside 21, which is Jack Yang. And row 3 of the grid, well, James Pinkerton qualified 5th quickest, but I'm sure what James will do is he will come into the pit lane, because he is the head of design and development for Radical, and regardless of his qualifying position, he usually trundles his way down the pit lane and starts from the pit. So I don't think he will take up what is shown on even the second amended grid sheet as 5th position on the grid. In fact, there he is at the tail end of the order. Yes, so he will be starting from the pit lane. So Paul Denning will line up on his own on the 3rd row of the grid. Row 4 of the grid is number 4, Andy Lowe, and number 7, which is George King, having his first outing in the Radical Cup UK, having previously raced and been a champion in the Radical Gulf Cup in 2022. Currently racing in World GT Challenge Australia is George King. Row 5 of the grid, John McLeod in his 15th year of Radical racing, starting alongside Rachel Robertson, the number 56 car. Row 6 of the grid is Amay Fazerlin, who we've seen out racing and is a long-time driver in the Gulf Radical Cup Championship. He's got alongside number 16, which is Matt Yard, who makes his debut in the championship this weekend. He's currently racing in the Radical Club Challenge presented by 750 Motor Club. And the final row of the grid is number 2, Chris Board, who again is another driver making his debut in the championship, and another driver that regularly races in the Radical Club Challenge presented by 750 Motor Club. So the lights are out on the safety car. We're about to get things underway. The reigning SR1 champion Marcus Littlewood setting the pole time of a 2-minute 2.191. That was literally 5/1000ths of a second quicker than Max van der Snel, who lines up alongside him. Max racing largely this year in the Michelin Le Mans Cup this year. So those two separated by 5/1000ths. That's 0.005 of a second in qualifying. This could be a very, very good race indeed. 25 minutes are on the clock. Round 13 of the 2025 Finecut Radical UK Championship about to get underway. As expected, James Pinkerton dives for the pit lane in the development car, so he will simply work his way down the pit lane and start from there and not get involved in the main championship battle. But the lights are on the gantry, and for the first time this weekend, the 13th time this year, we go racing in the Finecut Radical UK Cup Championship up towards Copse Corner for the first time. Marcus Littlewood side by side with Max van der Snel, neither of them looking to give up at all as they both lent on each other round through the corner, but it's Marcus Littlewood who just has his nose ahead still as they head down in towards Maggots and Beckett's, and they are still side by side through the first part of Maggots and Beckett's, and then Max van der Snel just sort of slides out wide a little bit, which allows Hamish Forrest to get closer to him. It's going to be Jack Yang who's there in 4th place, but everybody is safely through the first few corners, and they now descend onto what will be the Hanger Straight for the first time. The black car with the Dayglow orange flashes. Marcus Littlewood, 9 times a race winner so far this year, leading the way. Max van der Snel in the number 98 car, sitting there in 2nd place. Might not have done huge amounts of racing in Radicals. Came out at Zandvoort and won the 3rd race there, the longer pit stop race, but he's been racing since he was 7 years of age as Max van der Snel, and I think he's committed to the rest of the season as a spin, and I'm afraid there's contact, and that is the number 7 car of George King, who has had to take evasive action from the spinning car of Paul Denning, who was directly ahead of him. It was sort of Paul that made the mistake coming in towards Club Corner and rotated the car, and George King had nowhere to go really, so George in the gravel trap, Paul Denning in the gravel trap down at Club Corner, and that may well prompt a safety car with 2 cars stricken there. The race, however, for the moment will continue with just localised yellows. Up towards the braking area for Village, there's number 56, which is Rachel Robertson. Only started kart racing about 3 or 4 years ago. She's got the team car just ahead of her, the sister car from Racing Rebels, which is the number 25 car. Sorry, number 95 car, I should say, which is Hamish Forrest, just up the road. But I'm afraid, yep, safety car boards being displayed, yellow flags are out at the marshal's posts, and we bring this race to a controlled status. So Marcus Littlewood will lead the field round. Now, Marcus Littlewood, such has been his dominance in the championship so far this year, he has failed to finish off the podium all season. So we started the racing at Donington Park, 3 race wins at Donington Park out of the 3 races. We went to Brands Hatch, he won the first 2 races and finished second in the third. We went to Snetterton, he claimed all 3 race wins at Snetterton. And Zandvoort last time out, you could argue it was his worst weekend of the season. Actually on paper, it was in terms of positions, but because it was double points at Zandvoort, no it wasn't. But he finished 3rd and 1st and 2nd. So if that is your worst weekend of racing, where you get a 3rd place and your worst result of the season, you're in for a good year. He leads the championship coming into this weekend by 123 championship points from Hamish Forrest, who lies 3rd in this race at the moment in the almost black and teal coloured car of Hamish Forrest. But over any one race weekend, you've got sort of 160 points available for the wins. It's 40 for a win in the sprint race, an extra point for fastest lap, an extra point for pole position. It's 80 points if you win the pit stop race, which comes up tomorrow, plus 2 points for fastest lap as well. And what it does mean is that mathematically we could crown a champion this weekend, which would be Marcus Littlewood. I'll have some maths to do tonight, probably even more maths to do after race 2 tomorrow, but mathematically we could claim a champion. What you do is you drop your worst 2 scores over the course of a season, so the totals from all qualifying rounds, excluding any races that are abandoned or which have not been replaced, less 2 lowest scores determine the championship. So I think mathematically we could get there this weekend, but that would rely on a poor weekend for Hamish Forrest, and he at the moment is sitting 3rd in this race, which would net him 30 championship points. So new race distance being identified by race control, that the race was being dropped from a 25-minute race to a 20-minute race, so we're already now showing that there's just 15 3/4 minutes remaining, so they've chopped 5 minutes off the time. And for the number 99 car of James Pinkerton, who started from the pit lane, of course, now he's caught all the pack, and what James does for most of the time is start from the pit lane, catch the pack, he'll work his way through and past a few of them, but only when the overtake is nice and clean. I say he is the head of design and development for Radical. He's a 2-time Radical champion himself, but what he won't want to do is get involved in the championship battle. Looks like most of the clearing up has been done. George King's car, I think, out of the gravel trap. Paul Denning is also, I think, out of harm's way. Paul Denning, a busy man as well. He's the Patamaxis Yamaha Crescent Racing World Superbike Championship team principal, but I've seen him out for a few weekends of racing this year, as and when he's available with the busy World Superbike schedule. There's Matt Yard, say first weekend of racing in the Radical Cup UK, the Finecut Radical Cup UK, but regularly races in the Radical Club Challenge presented by 750 Motor Club. Lights still remain on the safety car for the moment. I thought we might be good to go at the end of this lap, but clearly there's still some work going on down there at Club Corner with the 2 stricken cars, and the telehandler is on hand to scoop up anything that remains in the gravel trap, which looks as though it's still the number 7 car of George King. So Paul Denning's car is gone, but for the former Radical Gulf Cup champion from 2022, George King, his car is still stricken there, I'm afraid. So shouldn't take too long to hoist him up out of harm's way. The strop's being attached to the boom on the telehandler, and then what is a fairly light car the Radical SR3 will be scooped out of harm's way. Minimum weight for these cars, including the driver and all equipment, 720 kilograms, so not exactly a heavy car to lift out of harm's way. And then once it is done, that number 7 car extracted out of harm's way will be hopefully behind the barriers and good to go. No damage to either of the car, that's a one good thing, so there'll be a lot of clearing out of dust to do. And you see that Paul Denning having a spin all on his own, and George King just caught in the wrong place at the wrong time, and they both sort of almost slide off each other. It's hardly any contact, was it? But they slid off each other, and then as a result of what happened, then George King just trying to get the car back out of the gravel, and it just dug straight into the gravel trap with a flat bottom floor. It's always difficult with a Radical to try and drag the car out of what are, at Silverstone in particular, very deep gravel traps. So no damage to either car particularly, a light scuff to both, and hopefully all will be good for him tomorrow. For Paul Denning, I think he did actually continue. Paul Denning was, I think, pushed out of the gravel trap, so I think he has been able to continue, and you might just see me. I could just see the black car with its multicoloured flashes to it in the background of the shot there, number 25 car. So he has caught the pack and has remained on the lead lap as well. So Marcus Littlewood leads, Max van der Snel in second, Hamish Forrest in third, Jack Yang in fourth, the US-based driver, who we also see racing in the likes of the Radical North American Championship and the Radical Gulf Cup. There is Paul Denning's car, so yeah, fresh out of the gravel trap, he will be able to continue in this race, hopefully without too much of a problem. But of course, whilst all of this is going on, the clock is still ticking down. The race distance has already been reduced by 5 minutes because we've had a busy day at Silverstone. It's the first time the Radicals have taken to the circuit, but almost every other race has had some sort of delay to it, either with incidents out on track or delayed starts because cars have broken down on the start-finish line. So we are not running to the timetable that was originally published, and we've not even had a lunch break as well. It's been literally flat out all day, and we are still behind timetable even with no lunch break, and it was originally a 50-minute lunch break was timetabled, so we've lost a good hour today with incidents, say not from the Radicals at all, but just from the supporting races here at Silverstone this weekend. So final bit of weaving being done from side to side. The lights still remain on the top of the safety car for the moment, though. They go out as it goes underneath the Wellington Bridge, which means that the safety car will be in at the end of this lap, and it'll be up to Marcus Littlewood to decide as to when he wants to go. He'll let the safety car accelerate away, and somewhere around Luffield, I'd imagine he'll go for it. There'll be no overtaking, though, until you get to the control line at the start-finish. So Marcus Littlewood will try and get a jump and a bit of a breather between himself and Zandvoort race winner from last time out, Max van der Snel. So out of Luffield, this is probably where Marcus Littlewood is going to go for it now. He does, he gets straight back on the throttle and he goes for it, but Max van der Snel is wise to that and is sitting absolutely with him as the pair, with 10.5 minutes to go, get the race back underway for round 13 of the 2025 Finecut Radical UK Cup, up towards Copse Corner. Marcus Littlewood already having to weave around to try and break the toe on the cars behind. James Pinkerton blending out of the throttle and lets the main competitors go by. So, as expected, James Pinkerton starting from the pit lane, but of course that allowed him to catch other cars, and other cars ended up behind him, so he just does the sensible thing against James Pinkerton. So, head of design and development for Radical, a 2-time Radical champion, doesn't want to get involved in the squabbles in the development car, so just blends out of the throttle and drops to the back again as down the Hanger Straight goes Marcus Littlewood. He's on lap number 4 at the moment. He's got the Dutchman, Max van der Snel, right behind him. Jack Yang coming under pressure as well. He's got Andy Lowe not too far away. Andy Lowe had a busy winter. He was another driver that took the opportunity to race out in the Gulf Radical Cup. He's got 5 years of racing experience now as the number 4 car in the hands of Andy Lowe. And he will also be leading the Fangio Cup as well at this stage. So he's 5th overall and leading the Fangio Cup. And the Fangio Cup is awarded to the highest point-scoring driver who's aged 50 or older at the beginning of the season. So he's leading the separate category within the main championship, but only just, because if Andy Lowe looks in his mirrors, he'll see that there's a white and Dayglow green car sitting right behind him, and that will be John McLeod. Rachel Robertson coming under pressure here from the charging car of Paul Denning, who is trying to work his way back up through the order. Rachel using all of the curbs on the exit of the loop. Doesn't look to compromise her speed as she heads on to the Wellington Straight, but Paul Denning is picking up the tow. Is he going to jink out from behind and try something in towards the braking area for Brooklands? We'll find out. Now, been a good restart from Michael Littlewood. He's pulled away in the lead of the race. Did Rachel Robinson hang on to the place? No, Paul Denning was able to get through. So Paul Denning goes through and ahead of the Racing Rebels number 56 car. So position lost for Rachel Robertson. Fastest lap of the race just coming in, and that's at a 2-minute 3.569 from Marcus Littlewood. That would pick him up the extra championship point. Paul Denning, number 25 car, still trying to work his way up through the order after his off and into the gravel. The next target for Paul Denning will be Andy McLeod. Sorry, will be John McLeod, I should say, who lies ahead. And John is in the white and the Dayglow green and black machine. So onto the Hanger Straight they'll go, and for John McLeod, what he will want to do is try and catch the next car ahead of him, which is Andy Lowe, and that would be for the lead of the Fangio Cup. So through Stowe Corner, the number 25 car of Paul Denning. Last time through did a 2-minute 7.4, which was 0.6 of a second quicker than John McLeod ahead. So he's edging up close to him through Club Corner. The last 3 laps on the trot he's been quicker. I mean, one of those was under the safety car when Paul was trying to catch it, and that's why on lap 2 you got such a significant difference between the lap times of the pair of them. But on pure race pace, he is the quicker of the two at the moment and is edging closer to getting himself inside the top 6, bearing in mind he was in the gravel trap when the safety car came out. So 7 minutes to go. Matt Yard heads up towards Village Corner. Say regular racer in the Radical Club Challenge presented by 750 Motor Club, looking to see if he can close in on Emir Fuzolin, who lies ahead of him. Emir we've seen racing in the Radical UK Cup sporadically over the years, having made the trip from the Middle East to be with us this weekend. But for Paul Denning, he's pretty much caught now, hasn't he, Andy McLeod? Sorry, John McLeod, I should say. Andy McLeod is somebody else I know. So through and over the start-finish line goes John McLeod, the white and the Dayglow green car, being hunted down by Paul Denning. And this is for position. This is for 6th and 7th place. It's also for 2nd and 3rd in the Fangio Trophy. Fangio Trophy still being led by the largely orange car number 4 that runs in 5th place in the hands of Andy Lowe. So out of the final aspect of Beckett's through Chapel Curve, use all of the curb on the exit of that and try and build some momentum onto the Hanger Straight. Marcus Littlewood again last time through the race leader with another new fastest lap of the race, 2 minutes 3.478 from him, stretching the lead advantage between himself and Max van der Snel to 1 3/4 seconds just over last time through. John McLeod still feeling the pinch though as Paul Denning begins to ever more close up. So through Club Corner, double apex almost at Club Corner. Be careful on the exit of it, because it does sort of lull you in to run wide on the exit, and that's where quite a few cars do pick up track limits warnings on the exit of Club Corner, and then flat out for what must be an exhilarating part of the circuit through Abbey and through Farm in these Radicals. The SR3 XXR, the latest iteration, the Gen 5 car of the SR3, which has been globally, the SR3, an enormous success over the years. Well over 1,000 cars built now of SR3s. As I say, when you've got championships in North America and throughout Scandinavia, down in Australia, into the Far East as well, the Middle East, it really has been a global success as Paul Denning chucks one up the inside of John McLeod and tries to squeeze his way through inside the top 6, but John having absolutely none of that, utilising all 15 years of his Radical racing experience to keep hold of the final place inside the top 6, but more importantly also 2nd place in the Fangio Trophy. I think it's a worldwide record for John McLeod of 15 years of racing Radicals. As he goes up towards Copse Corner, They're on lap number 7 now, and there's only 0.3 of a second between himself and the car that's putting him under pressure, which is Paul Denning. The pair of them also looking as though they're starting to edge closer to the orange car ahead that lies in 5th place and is the current Fangio Trophy leader, which is Andy Lowe. So that would be good if we can get all 3 cars fighting for the top 3 steps in the Fangio Trophy together. So there's the orange car of Andy Lowe, and you can see, yeah, John McLeod is being urged along by Paul Denning. Still having lapped slightly slower on the last few laps. Last 3 laps on the trot, John McLeod was slower than the car that's tried to hunt him down. So through Stowe at the end of the Hanger Straight, and down in towards the Vale with 3 minutes to go. I think the race leader will potentially be heading on to the last lap of the race next time through. So out of Club Corner, over the Grand Prix start finish line, so that's the Hamilton Straight, and up towards what will be flat out in these cars, the kink round through Abbey. Huge amounts of G-force as well exerted on the body through this section of the circuit, as there is through Maggotts and Beckett's as well. Very physical cars to drive, but must be enormously exhilarating. Huge amounts of downforce, plenty of power as well. Power to weight ratio must be astonishing in these cars when they only weigh 720 kilos, the car and the driver. So on to the Wellington Straight. Here comes Jack Yang up towards Brooklands Corner. He's very much on his own in 4th place, followed by Andy Lowe. Then John McLeod and Paul Denning using all of the curbs almost, coming in towards the braking area for Brooklands there, just trying to get the car as far over to the right as he possibly could. He almost had 2 wheels onto the grass before the curb started, so he was pushing hard. However, the man who is at the moment on course for another win in the Finecut Radical UK Cup, looks as though it is Marcus Littlewood, because he's just heading round through Beckett's for the final time. I don't think there's enough time on the clock for him to conclude one more lap. He might just come through with a few seconds to spare, so difficult to know. Last lap he did was a 2:03. We'll see as to whether he can squeeze enough performance out of the car. Now he's only 2.5 seconds up the road, so you can't really afford to ease off to prevent an extra lap if there's one coming. Top 3 look equidistantly spread, don't they? 2.5 seconds back is Max van der Snel, and then a further 2.5 seconds back from that is Hamish Forrest, who is on for 3rd place. And amazingly, that would only be the 2nd 3rd place Hamish has had so far this year. He's been consistently the runner-up in races to the dominance of Marcus Littlewood. He's had, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 second places so far this year has Hamish Forrest, and the only time he finished 3rd was last time out at Zandvoort when Max van der Snel joined the championship. So top 3 having gone through. Jack Yang just about to work his way up towards Abbey. Andy Lowe has not been caught by the car behind, which is now Paul Denning is the car behind, so he has squeezed through and past John McLeod on that lap. So the recovery drive from number 25, Paul Denning, who qualified 6th this morning, but had that spin, as we say, down at Club, which pitched him into the gravel and took out the unfortunate George King at the same time. So neither car damaged. You can see George King's car in the background there, just making its way back to the paddock, but Paul Denning has now worked his way back up through the order and is now up into 6th position, having started in 6th place. So I think the race leader is going to squeeze another lap in, isn't he? So Marcus Littlewood will be starting the final lap of the race this time through. And as he comes over the start-finish line, yeah, there are about 10 seconds remaining when he crosses the start-finish line. So just we're on to what will be the 9th and final lap of this race. And the lead advantage is now 3 seconds. So it's gone out by another half second that time through between Marcus Littlewood and the black car with the yellow flashes in the hands of Max van der Snel, who sits there still in what will be 2nd place. Hamish Forrest is a further 2.5 back in 3rd, so they'll all be on the Hanger Straight at the same time. They'll see the car in the mirrors, but they'll equally much as know that there's not a great deal they're going to be able to do about it on what is the final lap of the race this time through, unless there's a mechanical issue or a mistake, but there's been no sign of a chink in the armour for anybody in the top 3 as yet. Marcus Littlewood turns his way out of Stowe and heads down through the Vale towards the braking area for Club. So flick left, flick right, let the car run out wide, and then pick up the next apex on the exit of Club Corner, which will bring you onto the Hamilton Straight. Beautifully done by Marcus Littlewood, who, as we say, is going to start the weekend again with another win. The only time he has not won the opening race of the weekend was last time out at Zandvoort when he finished in 3rd place. Max van der Snel sitting there in 2nd. He was in for the rest of the season as well, Max van der Snel, so it'll be interesting to see as to how he goes at the remaining rounds. So we've got 2 more races to come up at Silverstone this weekend, and then it will be the 3rd weekend of August, I think it is, 3rd weekend of September, I should say, at Donington Park. 20th and 21st of September will be the final weekend of racing. But up towards the braking area on the final lap comes Marcus Littlewood, the reigning Radical SR1 champion, takes another step closer to becoming a back-to-back Radical champion, because he comfortably leads the Finecut Radical UK Cup Championship standings coming into this weekend, and he is about to scoop up his 10th win of the 2025 championship season. Round 13 of the championship in the Finecut Radical UK Cup goes the way of championship leader Marcus Littlewood, who comes through to claim the win, his 10th of the year. 2nd place goes the way of Max van der Snel, who finishes 3.7 seconds adrift in 2nd place. And for Hamish Forrest, it's another podium for him. He's had such a solid season so far. He has only failed to finish off the podium on 3 occasions so far this year. 4th place will go the way of Jack Yang. Andy Lowe will finish in 5th, and that's good for him. That means that he will be the Fangio Trophy category winner for the first of those home aged 50 and above. Paul Denning recovers to finish in 6th place. John McLeod 7th. Rachel Robertson a little bit off the boil really today in 8th place. Rachel's had a good season so far, regularly a top 6 finisher, and I think in all bar 2 races has finished in the top 5. But Rachel Robertson down in 8th today, so a bit of an off day for her by contrast to what she's done so far this season. Amir Faisalim, the man from the Middle East, from the United Arab Emirates, finishes in 9th place. And Matt Yard, on his debut in the championship, completes the top 10. So well done to Matt. Good to see both Matt Yard and Ross Board joining the championship this weekend, having previously raced for the rest of the 2025 season in the Radical Club Challenge presented by 750 Motor Club. So I think that's everybody over the start-finish line. So we should hopefully just be able to confirm the results with you then for what was round 13 of the Radical Cup UK, the Finecut Radical Cup UK, to give it its full title. It is a win, the 10th of the year for Marcus Littlewood, with Max van der Snel finishing in 2nd place, and Hamish Forrest was there in 3rd. Jack Yang finished in 4th, and Andy McLeod scooped up the win in the Fangio Trophy, finishing in 5th place overall, ahead of Paul Denning, who charged his way after the gravelly moment back to 6th place. John McLeod was 7th, Rachel Robertson 8th, Amir Faisalim was 9th, and it was Matt Yard that completed the top 10. James Pinkerton finished in 11th position. 12th place went the way of Ross Board, and we lost the unfortunate George King into the gravel trap down at Club Corner on the very first lap of the race. But hopefully just a sweep out of the gravel and he'll be good for tomorrow. So that's it for today from the Finecut Radical Cup UK Championship. Join us tomorrow morning 9 AM for round 14 of the championship, or if that's a bit too early for you and you want to lie in on your Sunday, and then join us at about 3:45 tomorrow afternoon for our pit stop race. So from everybody here from Radical UK, thanks for joining us at Silverstone. We'll see you tomorrow. Goodbye.